Hello and welcome to my first installment of my little watch show here. My name is Matt and I am really into watches. Not a long-time collector, but I have gotten a few pieces and I intend to get more, and just thought that this would be a good outlet for my collection and maybe help justify it just a little bit. I'm kind of a busy guy. I work at a state higher education institution, and I also, as well, am raising twins along with my wife. And in addition to that, I recently bought a business which my father is running for me. But all said and done, it keeps me pretty busy. So these videos are going to have to keep me motivated. So in any case, hopefully you enjoy this, and no doubt this will get better with time. Why the gloves, you ask? Well, first of all, I don't want to get fingerprints on stuff. I think gloves are good practice. Second of all, my children gave me hand, foot, and mouth, so my hands are not really good looking right now, so I just figured I'd spare you that. Also, the lighting, that's an issue. So you might see some shadows here. I'll try to pull the watch up and keep it out of the shadows. But I have bought lighting. However, I left it at my business. So I wanted to go ahead and get this rolling. I had the time, so deal with the shadows for now. In any case, what we're going to be reviewing today is going to be the Oris BC4 Chronograph. This is the non-flight timer version. This is the tachometer version. I've had this now for about, probably 5 or 6 months. I bought it used, and I got a pretty smoking deal on it. Orises are great buys in the aftermarket for the watches that they are. Right solidly in the middle tier of the Swiss watchmakers. They are fantastic deals on the used market. So if you can pick one of these up used, it's a fantastic deal most of the time. You got to be careful, but I did get a pretty good deal on this one. So in any case, let's take a look real quick. Try to get the light just right there. So as you can see, we've got our standard chronograph. We have our second hand stopped, waiting for the chronograph. We've got our small second complication. In addition, we also have our hours and minutes complications as well. Over here on the right hand side, we have our day, or rather date, complication here with the preceding date and the preceding date showing as well. We do have the tachometer right here on the outside, so we can do some timing. In terms of function, this is a standard ETA 7750. No doubt souped up with some of the Oris magic. Oris, you've heard the stories, and I really believe that they're true. They must do an awful lot of regulating to these guys, because although they're not spec'd as chronometers, everyone I've had so far and the people that I've talked to so far who do have Oris movements, their accuracy is incredibly good. Just to give you an idea, and this is not a joke, in the time that I've had this, I've been keeping daily records of the time variation, and I have averaged 1.5 seconds per day. That's one positive 1.5 seconds per day, which overall is incredible. Now, some weeks it'll be, +5, other weeks it'll be, plus 0.5, but overall it has been an incredibly reliable movement, whether worn or not. If it's sitting or on the winder, it doesn't really matter. It's a fantastic movement. In terms of the decoration, Not super decorated. We got this kind of racy red here, as well as the Oris markings. Really free spinning movement though. Fairly quiet. There's a little bit of rattle to it, but that's just, I think, kind of standard for this particular movement. But in any case, incredibly reliable, incredibly accurate. I couldn't recommend this anymore if I tried. So let's talk a little bit about the construction of the watch itself. 316L stainless steel, as is standard. Over here we've got our pushers for the chronograph function. We also have our signed crown here as well, if you can see that. There we go, signed Oris. This is a really cool crown too, because it actually kind of cams in. It's not a screw in, but it's a cam in. So look at what I mean. All I have to do is push in and turn about a quarter, maybe even less than a quarter of a turn, and it pops out. To put it back in, you just push and it cams back in. Really cool implementation of this cam. Gives the unit itself 100 meters of water resistance, which is pretty doggone good, I think, having these pushers out here. You know, with the exception of extreme diving chronographs, you don't see really any more than 100 meters, but it's not super common to see 100 meters on a non-diving chronograph. So this is really a nice feature, and seems very functional as well. That's probably one of my favorite features, is just how easy that crown is to use. In terms of size, this is a big boy, so let's talk about the size here real quick. Got my handy dandy calipers. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the dimensions here. So, oops, I'm in inches. There we go. So in terms of the Kate's without the crown, I'm at 43, might be 42.5, somewhere in there. With the crown, we're looking at closer to 48. And then in terms of thickness, this is kind of a thick guy. 15.6. So this is a thick guy. It does wear that way as well. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then in terms of the lug width, we are at 22. Okay, so fairly standard lug width. Now, what makes this, I have a just over a 7-inch wrist. And what makes this wearable for me, not having an incredibly large wrist, it's not small, but it's not large by any means. What makes this wearable for me is it has a pretty tight lug to lug of 51, thereabouts. Okay, so that really does, and those tight lugs really do make it a lot more wearable than it appears on the surface. That being said, it does wear as a thick watch. This does stand up off your wrist quite a bit. You know, it's you definitely know that it's there. And chronographs in general tend to be thicker, but this one especially, and this has kind of a, in terms of design, this has kind of a classic Germanic brutalist look to it. It's very functional, you know, tall sides. You know, if you think about the brutalist architecture from the 70s and 80s, this kind of fits right in there for me. It just seems to be kind of that ilk, but very functional and very, I think, unusual. I kind of like it. You know, when I wear this, I feel like it means business. Got it here on this G&Co strap. Got the Raleigh ventilated strap here. It is brown. Black might have been a better choice given the dial. The dial is the crosshatch dial, which not all of these chronographs had the crosshatch, which is kind of a nice, more racing-inspired feature. But in any case, really like it on the strap. For a while, I had it on a DeLuca, one-piece NATO, but that leather is so soft it couldn't handle the size and weight of this guy. It just started getting all wonky on me, and would constantly kind of be going out of shape, and I didn't want to ruin the strap, and so I went ahead and got something that was a little bit sturdier, but as well as just a really high quality strap. I'm a really big fan of G&Co for the price. No doubt in coming videos you'll be seeing a lot more of them. They just really do make a fantastic product for the price. Now, what this came with originally was this bracelet, solid in-link bracelet. You can see this one has just a little bit of wear on it, and, you know, a few war wounds here or there. I'm going to take those out with a Scotch-Brite pad one of these days. The bracelet wears extremely nice. You know, don't get me wrong. I do prefer, for the most part, I prefer leather straps or NATOs, but for a bracelet, this is an extremely nice bracelet. One thing that I do really like is it has this small clasp on it. It's an unusual design. It has this lift right here, and if you just pop this open, everything deploys. So you can see that really nice milling here with regard to the deployment clasp, and locks up really nice as well. So to lock it up, all you do is you just pop that guy right there and then push. Just super simple, super smart. I like the way that Oris did this. This is a great bracelet, not too rattly, not very much slop at all. This is high quality right here. Albeit the fact that they do have you know, push pin and collar for resizing, which isn't, it's not my favorite. I would have preferred to have seen a screw, but you know, if you didn't know that it was a push pin, you'd be happy as a clam with this bracelet. It's really fantastic for the price. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why I bought this and what its future is here in my collection. I've been toying with this a lot lately, so this is something I've been struggling with. Probably why this is going to be my first videos, just because this has kind of been top of my mind. On the used market, you can get about $950 to $1,000 for a good condition unit like this with the bracelet, especially keeping the time that this is. So recently this hasn't been getting a lot of wrist time for me, mostly because this is a very casual watch, and day to day I am in the office a lot, and this is, I like to wear casual watches to the office. That's not abnormal for me, but this is just a little too big for my day-to-day. If I wear a long sleeve shirt, which I often do, especially now that it's winter, this does not fit under a collar, under a cuff. So it's just a little bit too big. I will wear this occasionally, but it's not getting the wrist time that it should, and I feel like I've got a lot of money tied up in it that I could be spending elsewhere. So I've been kind of going back and forth about actually selling this. I originally bought this with the intention of, you know, having a chronograph that kind of has that racing inspiration. You know, Oris does have that racing heritage, especially with their partnerships with Audi, etc. You do see them you know, on that racing circuit. This has a very race-inspired look and feel to it, as well as a little bit of that, you know, as well as a little bit of that flight chronometer feel as well, that it shares with the flight timer. But in any case, yeah, I've just been going back and forth about selling this one. So that's kind of been top of my mind. So I don't know, we'll see. I think the money could probably be better spent elsewhere. I've kind of been eyeing one of the Seiko VK64s, you know, one of the mecha quartz, because I can get into a mecha quartz movement which would fit my needs for a chronograph, since I don't wear them very often. I would love to. I mean, I'm a car guy. I love the racing heritage that you get with a traditional chronograph, but for the amount that I wear one, I think that I would be well suited with a slightly less expensive mecha quartz, and I could put the extra money into something else that might fit my day-to-day needs a little bit more, and just, you know, allow me to buy more watches. So I think that this is going to go up for sale relatively soon. If you're interested, let me know. Get a side profile. One of the other things I like about this, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, is this really nice, it's a huge dial, and it has this really nice just dome to the sapphire. It's just a really really beautiful dome there. Well put together, well thought out, just a little bit thick, just a little bit too much for my personal needs. Last thing that we'll do is we will go ahead and do a loom shot. Hang on, I'm going to have to turn off a heck of a lot of lights, so hold on just a sec. Alright, so loom shot time. So, got our black light here, get that all charged up. For being kind of a racing-inspired chronograph, this actually does have pretty decent loom. I've been impressed with it. It's not out of control in terms of being large, per se. But, oh, you can see the reflection of my camera. But as you can see there, we do have loom on the hours, as well as on the hands. Not sure what mixture they're using of Superluminova, but very good loom nonetheless. I've been very pleased with it. Bright, not overdone, perfect for its application, and very functional. The only thing that I would have changed is I would like to have seen, you know, especially given the fact that this is a chronograph, I would have liked to have seen some loom on the small seconds hand, but what are you going to do? So let's go ahead and go back to our lit view. Alright, and with that, we are going to end our review of the BC4. Fantastic movement if you can get past the height. And I just realized we hadn't run the chronograph at all. Ooh, look at that. Works just like a 7750 should. Very nice. So in any case, this is probably going to get sold. I'm a little torn up about it. It's been a great watch, super accurate. Yeah, I've been going back and forth, but I think this is going to get sold. If you're interested, drop me a line. Coming up next, in our next video, I've been kind of thinking about some options, but this little problem child is probably going to be the discussion of my next video. Yes, it is a Sarb, and beautiful little thing that it is here on this custom double-piped leather strap out of the Ukraine from a Etsy seller. Great place to get nice handmade straps. But this guy is a problem child. I've had major issues with the accuracy, and it really... Here's the thing. I keep having these issues with Seikos. So, the SARB has been reviewed to death. I'm not going to do, a review on it per se, but I think I'm going to use it as a jumping off point for what I love and hate about Seiko. It's just like having a bad girlfriend. You love them to death when you're having fun, but they just drive you bananas. Those few faults, kind of keep that individual from being the one that you want to take home to mom and dad. And man, I want to love Seiko so much. I do love Seiko so much. I mean, they've got some fantastic watches. Don't get me wrong, but this little guy will give you an idea, kind of what I have been dealing with, and I think what a lot of Seiko owners deal with and put up with, just based on the fact that they love these inexpensive watches that give a lot of bang per buck. So in any case, I'm saying too much about this already, so we'll save that for next time. So in any case, thanks for watching the video. If you like what you saw, like it, subscribe to the channel. There will be more videos coming. Granted, this is my first video, but there are a lot of watches yet to be reviewed in my collection, and just a lot of thoughts, opinions, and really, we're going to go further than watches. I personally am an individual who really likes quality stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I like things that are well designed and perform as they should, with an eye to detail. That's why I really, really do like Swiss items. I do like Japanese items. I've owned basically both German and Japanese cars almost exclusively, and have stayed away from American, not because I think that they're hunks of junk, but just because they're missing something in the details. I really like things that are thoughtfully designed and perform as they should. So with that, we'll be going through just, a litany of stuff. We'll see some watches, we'll see some EDC, maybe some knives, and just some opinions about design, industrial design, and how things are made, and things that work well for their intended purpose. So in any case, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Love to grow the viewer base, and we will see you next time.